Good afternoon, I'm Brendan Moore with General Mills. I'm the flour and bakery mix team.
And I'm Grant Shipp. I'm your account executive for Benny Keith DFW.
What we're going to do today is just cover a little bit about flour, the protein continuum, treated versus untreated, some of the trends we're seeing in the marketplace, why General Mills flour, and we'll just talk a little bit about why everyone on this should be utilizing us. Get us out of our house, please. We would love
Please get us out of the house.
We would love to help you out with any flour needs in the marketplace. Flour is big business.
Yeah, when I was a DSR out on the streets, I always tried to go after flour business because I know that if I get the flour business, I'm going to get the cheese, the toppings, any of the condiments, even on down to chemicals. So there's a wide variety of products that come along with selling flour. So it's a very important category.
As Grant said, flour is the anchor. The tomatoes, the cheese, the toppings, the proteins, the boxes, they'll all come once the flour is converted. And that's the first item that is cut in a pizza Italian restaurant.
So today we're going to be showing you a little demo on making pizza dough with our Deep Primordina Italian style 00 flour. I'm going to go ahead and get the mixer started. We're going to make a run, and we're going to show you the stages from start to finish on how a dough should look, and so you'll have a little bit more confidence in going and selling to your operators. Let me go and get that started.
Just to touch on it a little bit, this is stock. This is a newly milled flour. It's a 00 match. It's domestic versus an Italian Caputo 00. Caputo does a very good job with marketing. It's a great product, but the customer, as you can tell in the price in your computer, you're paying for the freight. $28, $30, $32, $36 a 55-pound bag. This is half the size, but it is also about $8 to $12 cheaper once you put two of these together, 55 pounds. We did half the size for ease of use in the back of the house. It is untreated, unbleached, unbromated, unmalted. It is a really good product. It will absorb a ton of water. So your consumers that will use Caputo 00, they'll yield more dough balls out of a bag than they will Caputo 00. Just to touch about protein level, we'll talk about the protein from cake and pastry flour up to an all trumps, how pricing goes, and we'll also talk about when mixing, you'll see the difference in gluten formation, what protein looks like.
So right now we've had this on here just for a couple of minutes. This dough is really, really tight. It's going to break. It's not stretching. It doesn't have any elasticity yet. The gluten's still forming, but it's still in its infant stages. So I'm going to let this go for another few minutes, and we're going to see how it works when we get to that point.
So you'll tell that was about 2 minutes?
That was 3 minutes.
3 minutes in, it was bucky, it was tight, there was no window pane, you couldn't pull and stretch. It just tore right away. The gluten hasn't formed yet. It still has some time to mix. And then after protein, we talk about treatment. What is unbleached? What's unbromated? What do those treatments do? How does it affect the end product? We'll talk about that in the future here. What is gluten? So you just saw Grant hold the dough out after 2 minutes. Gluten hadn't formed yet. What's gluten? Well, the protein in the wheat, the gliadin and glutenin, it is combined with water and machinability, mixing, forms the building block of protein, which is gluten. So once that wheat hits the water and the mixing, the machinability occurs, then gluten forms. After about 4 to 5 minutes, the gluten starts to form, not fully, but starts to come together. That's when you'll see the dough pull apart, the window pane, it'll pull, it'll stretch. Protein continuum, it works from the cake and pastry flour up to an all trumps of premium 14.2% protein. Cake and pastry flour is between 8 and 9%. Just to remember, maybe a rule of thumb is low protein. The cake and pastry flour, you have to have pan extenders, or else that will flow out the sides. It needs help, it needs stability while in the oven. You work your way up into a New York style pizza or a bagel. You don't need the pan extenders. The end product has stability, it has strength, it has stretchability. Kind of like a aluminum building at the low end to a steel building at the top end of the all trumps. Now with protein, it also comes with a price tag. Cake and pastry flour is cheaper versus an all trumps. You pay with protein as you walk your way up from 8 to 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 and a half, up to 14.2. 13% is the industry standard on putting high gluten on the bag. Not every company abides by that. I'll have a flour tested that says high gluten on a bag, and it'll come back at 12.2, 12.6, and that's huge. A couple points is a big difference in the end product, and the absorption, the elasticity, the strength, the consistency. But General Mills, the specs are super tight. We never go off track. If it's not 13%, we won't put high gluten on the bag.
All right, this is after about 6 minutes of mixing. Now the dough is starting to become more elastic. It's starting to form more of a cohesive ball, and it's starting to smooth out a little bit. You can see that if you could get close, you can see that there's some strands running through the dough. The gluten is starting to form. We're going to put this back in for another 5 minutes, and we'll show you the finished product. And I've also got another one that's completely relaxed and ready to work. So
now we'll talk about flour treatments when you feel the call, or if you're in the back of the house and the customer asks, well, I need a flour that's bleached or bromated. Bleaching, all that is, it really doesn't have an effect other than an appearance. In a pizza Italian customer, bleaching, it's benzoyl peroxide, and that's added in the product prior to it being milled, and that just matures the flour a lot sooner. Bromades are very important. You take an unbromated flour and compare it to a bromated flour. The unbromated, you'll have to mix a little bit longer. It won't absorb as much water. Bromades, you can think of it as steroids for flour. It gives you the customer a little more room for error. In a pizza house, if they need dough right now, and they may not mix it 10 minutes, they'll mix it 8 minutes, or don't add as much water because they need the dough right away, that bromade will kick in and allow a little more room for error and get that dough ready sooner. And so then there's enrichments. Enrichments, folic acid and vitamins are added back into the flour during the milling process that are typically lost. And that started back in World War when everyone was eating bread, and they needed to make sure that everybody got their enrichments, their vitamins, and folic acid. It doesn't have any effect on the end product. Malting is a naturally occurring occurrence in breads with yeast. It's naturally, and it's added very little. It starts the bread. It kind of is just food for the yeast to eat and start. Growing demand right now is on untreated flour. That means unbleached, unbromated. In California, it's illegal to have bromades in the flour. And so with General Mills, you'll see a bag with red lettering on it. That's bleached and bromated. That's the treated flour. A bag with green on it. That's unbleached, unbromated. And there's no upcharge for the untreated versus the treated, or vice versa. So why General Mills flour? You look at your computer, there's maybe 15, 20 different manufacturers, marketing companies, millers. Why our flour? Well, we're a true milling company, 150 years from ground to bag. We follow that wheat. We only buy type A wheat, the best wheat. We're the most consistent, the tightest specs in the industry. We only vary 0.4 up and 0.4 down from the protein level. And you have myself and Grant at your beck and need. Please, again, utilize us. We love to make calls, and any type of samples or literature or spec sheets, we would love to provide it, help you guys convert some business over. Different types of pizza flours that you'll see out in the marketplace. Actually.
All right. Let me throw a little bit of flour down here, get a little bit of a workable surface. All right, so what we've got now is we've got definitely a much more cohesive ball of dough. I'm going to take this and knead it for a little bit, but you can absolutely see in the dough that you're starting to see some gluten being formed. Now, remember, when you take this out of the mixing bowl, you're going to need to let it rest for I would do mine from anywhere from an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how warm it is in the kitchen. I've seen it go as much as 3 hours. So the end result
But the dough is ready. You can make a good pizza out of it.
Oh, you could definitely, you could toss this thing right now and have a high quality eating experience for your customers. However, I like to let it sit a little bit because that actually forms the gluten even more. It ends up in it results in a chewier, just a really good bite to the pizza. So with that, we can let that bench proof for just for a little bit. But also, I want to show you kind of the end product that I went ahead and made some up earlier. This is fully relaxed. The gluten's fully formed. This thing stretches like a dream. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful pizza.
How long has it been proofing for?
Actually, I made it yesterday. I just left it in the refrigerator overnight.
And you'll tell the difference in the taste between a 24-hour dough versus a ready now dough. The yeast, you can taste the difference. There will be a better taste out of the 24-hour, but a pizzeria may need dough right away. They get jammed up with a bunch of customers. Dough's ready. You can pull it out and use it right away.
So when we talk about the window pane, when you stretch the dough, you can almost see through it. You'd almost be able to, if you stretch it out just a little bit more, you could actually read through it. This is a great gluten formation.
And this is 12% protein, so you'll get even more with a 14.2 all-trumps.
So just to give you a little bit of an idea on how simple it is to create a craft-style pizza crust and maybe what your customers are looking for. This is ready to go into a brick oven at 700-800 degrees for about a minute and a half. You can do an impinger, you can do just a regular deck oven.
Yep.
The sky's the limit. But this is a very high quality dough, and this is a very high quality product. And it just, you really, the price point on it is really, really something that we can hone in on. Because again, we're buying 100% domestic wheat. We're not sending it somewhere to have it processed and bringing it back. This is produced here in the United States. It's sold here in the United States. No tariffs, no import duties. The price point on it is incredible, and the performance of the product in itself is incredible. So it's definitely something we want to push out into the market. It's a win-win for you and the customer. So
breweries, anywhere you see a brick oven, the high heat pizzas, the kind of you decorate it yourself. This is where this would fit. And like I said, the performance is there, and the kicker is the price is right. And it's a 12% protein, a 00 match. It's a hard red winter wheat versus the high protein, high gluten New York style pizza at all trumps. So
let us get out in the market and sell for you. Let us give you the tools that you need to feel confident about going to market and selling flour. We're ready to get out and help and work on your behalf. We're ready to work with you. Whatever it takes for us to get in the market and make a difference. That's what we're here to do.
Please don't forget, regionally, we've got the fried chicken, the QSR chicken restaurants. We've got wholesale tortilla. We've got bakeries. All flour is a key ingredient. H&R flour would fit all three. And you have that stock, your all-purpose hotel and restaurant. That would cover the breading for the chicken, for tortillas, or for bakery as well. So please don't forget about that. Pizza Italian is very important, but fried chicken places and chains go through a lot of H&R as well.
Absolutely. And remember, you get the flour, you're going to get everything else along with it. So
thank you very much for your time. I hope this helped.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.